do about it, it's taken me in like a vicious circle. And I think a lot of people are going through that. And some people went from being just in a in a state of fear and anxiety over the virus and what's happening, and fearing over their loved ones and all that stuff, to fearing for their future in general. Jobs have been cut, salaries have been cut, people have been displaced, people are still stuck in countries far away from their families because either they're studying, either they're this. So you have families that have been separated and all that stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Absolutely.
But what can you say about like all of this?
So it's very real and it's overwhelming, and I think the fact that it's unprecedented, because it's the very first time we go through something on a scale like this one globally. We've witnessed wars locally, we've witnessed so many things, but this pandemic on a global level, on this scale, with all of these consequences, is unprecedented. So definitely it's scary. There's a lot of uncertainty. Like you said, we are scared for our health. We're scared for our well-being, for the health of people that we love. We are scared about our livelihoods, economics, what happens. And tomorrow morning, let's say, COVID-19 is, khalas, it's cured, and they find the cure and everything is fine. Then the ramifications of that and the consequences and the impact on economies and livelihoods, it's really, really very, very scary. But we're in it. We're on crisis mode, and and I think we feel out of control, and this is what fear is all about. Because, like you were saying when we started, you're saying that we're used to.
نسينا نحضر بوريس جونسون. Shops and some schools could open from June.
Yeah. So may I ask just everybody to mute their mics, and then we will just open it up to question and answer. So we're used to planning, and through our planning and through doing all of that, we get the essence that we are in control. In control of how we do things, in control of our life, our environment. And on a huge scale, right now we feel that we're out of control. We cannot control what's happening in our lives, what are the things that are happening. And this is what's igniting all of the fears. And the fear is not something new that just happened because of COVID-19. The fear is actually a stimulus that actually is talking to fears that are in us and that have been with us for a long time. And it's just putting all of that on fire and amplifying all of the emotions and all of our anxieties. It's important to know that we have a choice here. The choice is, with everything that's happening, how do we cope? And what do we do? Do we exist in fear? And then, okay, we can do that. We can opt to stay scared and stay obsessing about it and obsessing about the numbers and the cases. I'm not saying not to deal with it and to hide ourselves and our heads in the sand. I'm saying, how do we deal with fear so the fear becomes contained and we control the fear, rather than the fear being this huge monster controlling us? How do we control our minds and our emotions so we can actually, control it rather than have it controlling us? And that's very important.
Yeah. The thing is, so many people deal with their fear and anxiety in different ways, and that's the problem. And I do believe that like feeling is healing. So in order for you to heal, you need to allow yourself to feel whatever emotions you're feeling at the time, and respect it and accept the situation you're in. You can move past it. But the problem is, with everything coming from outside with all the, I mean, how do you not listen to the news if the news is supposed to guide you to what's coming? You know what I mean? So how do you block all this information that's actually fueling your fear if you're supposed to also listen to it, because it's also going to guide you to what, how you're supposed to live your life or where you're supposed to go. Like all of a sudden they hit parents with the fact that school is not going to be opening till next year, and that already, that was a lot for parents to deal with. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I feel for them. It's a lot for them to deal with now. How are they going to handle it for another year?
Right.
What are they going to tell their kids? So not only are they worried about themselves, they're worried about their kids, and then they're worried about, you know, their future, because of also the jobs that have been affected and the salaries that have been cut. And if this is gonna, you know, they keep saying, okay, fine, there's full lockdown, and then after a while they ease the lockdown, then there is also talk of another lockdown because there's a spike, but then the spike is normal, but then the spike is not normal, and then it's like, you know, at the end you're like, give me one answer, make sure of your answer, and I'll deal with the rest. But you cannot give me 10 different answers and expect me to sit down and not be freaking out.
Yeah. But you know, I think the way that this is being handled, whether in the UAE or anywhere else, is, look, this is again unprecedented. So they are dealing with it as things unfold. There is no 100% answer. Yani there isn't a black and white, right? So, and I think, you know, they're trying to strike a balance. You can't lock down completely and forget completely about the economy and everything. It has to be a little bit of a balance. So I think they're doing, you know, I'm pretty sure that they're doing their best, but I don't think that there is one answer and one action that is being taken. They take an action, they see the consequences, and then, you know, they progress from there. And I think
it's trial and error, basically.
I mean, trial and error, because, you know, they see the effectiveness of what they're doing, and then, you know, unfortunately that number is spiked up to 700s now and so on. So let's see what will happen there. But what the important thing is, you know, living in all of that and in all of the changing, are you gonna be wired to the news minute by minute, looking at the numbers, looking at all of that, sorry about this. Okay. So looking at all of that and saying, okay, what's going to happen here? The numbers have changed now. The numbers didn't change, you know, and driving yourself crazy in the process. Or you're going to say, okay, we are living in extraordinary times where things are wreaking havoc everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So health issues, health alarms, economic alarms, everything. All right. So there's that fire happening all around us, all right? So how do we handle it in a way where we gain control? The only thing that we can control at this point in time is us, nothing else. You can't control the numbers. You can't control what's happening with COVID-19, with the economy, with anything else, right? And the worry about what's gonna happen tomorrow, am I gonna get sick? Is somebody gonna, you know, we know that and love gonna die? Am I gonna lose my job? What's gonna happen to my house? What's gonna happen to this? Okay, so we're always projecting to the future and we're worrying about it, and we have the right to do that. But what's happening is we're robbing ourselves of having a choice of doing something today and having the space and the calmness of mind to say, okay, what can I do? Not only to survive this, but how can I imagine a better future for myself going forward? Because, you know, making yourself go nuts with all of the fear and out of control with it, with everything that we're feeling, is not going to serve us. Yani, the only thing that we can control is ourself, our mindset, and our attention. So there's two things, yani, and we were talking about this on a different conversation. Yani, if you imagine that 80% of success in life, in business, in any area of your life, is our mindset. So the way that we think about things, the way that we look at things and decide, this is what I see, or this is how I want to approach things, is 80% of our success in life. So, and this is something that is completely under our control. And there are two things that where true transformation in our life happens. It's attention, where our focus is, what we give our attention to, and intention. These two forces, attention and intention, they work together, and they're very powerful if we use them, if we know how to use them to our favor. But right now, if our attention is completely on dooms and we're screwed, I don't know what's going to happen to us, and so on, whatever we give our attention to, it expands. And if we're just focusing on our attention on that fear is going to expand, and it's going to become out of control. So
I just want to emphasize one thing, because there are some people that went on a complete, they're like, okay, fine, I'm not going to give it attention anymore. And they went into another phase, which is complete denial.
Yeah.
And they started like, no, just go out, live your life, whatever. You cannot just go out and live your life. You went from freaking out to just going out. Yani, it's like two extremes. So how do you control? I don't want to say control, because the mind is so hard to control. I mean, you have to like literally somehow believe, or there has to be tools that you can actually use to sort of deviate your mind a little bit, because I wish we can all control our minds. Otherwise, we'd all be in La La Land right now. But like, yeah.
I think it's very important that we control our minds, and there are specific tools of how we can do that, and I'll come to them. But I'm not saying go into denial, because that's not the point. The point is, like you said, we have to respect the way we feel, and we're feeling scared. Give it its size and its dimension, feel it, but don't get stuck feeling it. Don't stay there. Feel it, let it sink in. Take 3 minutes, take an hour, take a day, take 3 days to dwell into your fears and your anxieties, but have an end to it, okay? Yani, don't let it run your life forever, unlimited. You're in charge.
It creeps back in.
Yeah.
That's the problem, when it creeps back in, when you think you've dealt with it and then you find it creeping back in. How do you?
It does. Look, think about it as we do anything in life. It's habitual, right? It's like, and it's something that we haven't learned to do since a long time. It's like, if I'm a very bad eater and I've like gained weight and put on weight consistently all of my life, and I come and say, okay, I'm gonna control my weight as of now, right? So I start going on a diet, and I want to become healthy and so on. And as soon as I do that, next day in the morning, I wake up, I expect to see results, right?
Yeah.
Then when I don't see results, I fall back into this fear again, or into, oh, let me eat because it's not giving me the results that I want. Remember there's momentum, and there's a habit that needs to happen here, because we have been feeding those fears, and we have allowed our emotions to take over. We are not consciously training ourselves to be in charge of our mentality. We don't take charge of our focus. So what we are doing is, we always are at the receiving end. So we're always in reaction mode rather than acting.
Yeah.
So we're reacting to our environment. Oh, let me see. Oh, the numbers went up on my phone. Oh, I freak out. We're always reacting. I get a phone call from somebody, I feel happy. I see the news, I freak out, and so on. So we're always on reaction mode, where
Mm.
we have our mind is an amazing tool and a powerful tool if we know how to control it. And if we are able to control our thoughts, and we can control the thoughts that we have by choosing what to focus on. Once we are able to focus on what we want, you instantly change the way you feel, because what you are thinking about fuels your feelings, and you can instantly change your feelings and your emotions by the way that you're thinking and by controlling your mentality. And that's so important. And we are trained not to take charge of our focus, so we stray, we go with the flow. So we need to catch ourselves once we get into a dip, and maybe we're not tuned into our programming and our ideas. But maybe one thing to catch ourselves doing is, once we start dipping in our emotions, okay, that's your trigger to say, okay, what am I thinking about? Okay, distract yourself. We have to have disrupting strategies that help us to get out of this, to step out of it, to snap out of it.
Like what, for example? It depends on the person, you mean? Like, let's
Yeah.
say, put on Friends, watch Friends.
Yeah.
Or like listen to music you like, or talk to a friend that
Definitely
keeps you busy, or okay.
Because naturally, have you ever been in a situation where naturally what we do is we store, right, and we accumulate information and experiences. So we're good friends, and we're talking and everything is fine, and you do something that ticks me off, and we get into a fight, and in 1 second I bring out everything wrong that you have done me all over the years. Have you ever done that? I've been there.
No, it's been done to me. I never do it because I have a fish memory. So I forget all the bad stuff. I only remember the good things. But it's been done to me before, and it just drove me nuts. I'm like, why would you remember such things? Like, just remember the good things. Why would you remember the bad things?
Because we dwell on all of these things, because feeling bad and getting this the feeling of fear or pain is something that we are wired to, because it helps us survive in some way. So
it's like an adrenaline,
yes,
almost like
absolutely. So very important, we have to catch ourselves, where are we focusing? Because okay, what will happen if we are everybody today, we're gonna open it up in a little bit. If we're feeling scared, and we have the right to feel scared and anxious and everything, but okay, how is that serving us? And then what's happening with feeling scared? Yani, what is the price? Let me ask you this. What is the price that we're going to be paying for focusing on our fears and living that way? Okay,
you don't really get anything out of it.
Yeah, let's forecast it for a month, for a year. What is the price that you are paying for doing that?
Your health,
your mental. I'm really scared about us making it out of this pandemic, and physically safe but mentally disturbed, right? Because that's and that's very important. Mental health and the way we control our psychology, and not only physical health, but we have to take care of our mental state and our psychological state, because I don't want to go out into the world after COVID-19 compromised psychologically. We're going to be roaming the street.
I think it's safe to say that we're all going to be compromised psychologically. So let's just get that out of the way, because I don't know how I'm going to be around people anymore. Like it's hard I wish I hugged more people before this.
Yeah,
I'm a hugger, and I didn't hug enough people. So now after this, I'm like, how am I gonna, like, do we shake hands? How do I, like, it's weird. Like the mask has become so normal
Yeah.
to have on that I don't even know how to. Sometimes I go back in the house and the mask is still on. I forget it.
Yeah. We're
So
so used. Yeah. So the thing is, it's a matter of what we focus on, because believe it or not, this crisis, this pandemic has a lot of blessings that it gave us, right? I mean, in Dubai, in the UAE, we always, I know that I'm guilty of this. I always complain that I never had enough time. I never had enough time to see my family, spend enough time reading. You know, I had a zillion books that I had just bought, never read. Spending time with friends, doing things that I wanted. The gifts that this pandemic has given us is enormous. The gift of time, the gift of being safe in our houses. But these are gifts if we know how to use them, if we invest them right, not if we stay at home and just like panic about it. So there are tools that help us refocus, because just, you know, if you only think about one tool, which is your focus and what you focus on daily basis. I'm not saying, you know, let's get into denial, let's not watch the news, let's not be informed. No, I'm saying let's be informed, but you know what I've done? I've gone on a diet of the news.
عم بسمع شيف.
Okay, sorry, let me mute others.
For a second, I thought it was coming from here.
Okay, I can't mute you. All right. So where were we? Let's ration the news, the intake of the news. Let's stay informed. Let's take all the precautions that are needed to be taken, okay? And let's take it one day at a time as it evolves, because we are capable, we are stronger than we think, because in crises and when we are in an emergency situation like this, we are capable of so much more. We prove to ourselves that we are capable of so much more than we ever thought is possible. We're more patient, we're more strong, and so on. And courage is acting in the face of fear, because, you know, it's, you know, I know a lot of people who always prided themselves on being, you know, not fearful and courageous and so on. But if we're gonna hide away and gonna surrender to our fears and to paralysis at the first sign of fear, then where is the courage? What will determine and differentiate successful people, and not only at work, but success in life. And by success here, meaning what you want to achieve in life. What will differentiate people who will succeed and go on, and people who cannot succeed, is our ability to not only deal with what's happening, but to see the opportunities and act upon them. And there are small things that we can employ to feel back in control again. Because what is fear? Fear is a feeling that we have lost control. We don't have control on our lives, on our environment. So focus on what you're thinking about, and try to change your focus when your feelings start getting, and the fear and anxiety starts getting up. Journaling is a very important.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Okay, so once you start, those feelings start bubbling up, start journaling. What are you feeling? What are you thinking about? Okay, so journal not only about what you're feeling, but what you're thinking about. So you are aware that these are the thoughts that are triggering it. So you can stop it as you go forward. Have a routine, because a lot of us, once we came home and we started working from home or distant learning or something, we lost our routine. And we love routine because it gives us a sense of
Stability.
stability and control, right? So have a routine. I felt very uncomfortable the first few days when we started self-isolation and being at home, because I didn't have a routine. I didn't have a set time to wake up, a set time to open my computer, and so on. So I put for myself a routine that by 9 o'clock I need to be doing this, and so on. And it helped me a lot because it gave me the sense that I'm in control of my day again, right?
Yeah. It's also important. I don't know, my mom gave me a tip that I honestly didn't think it was that important until I implemented it at home. But she said, section your house.
Yes.
Section your house into your office, your cinema room, your I don't know, your game room, then you have the kitchen, and then even like my dining table, I turned this into a restaurant. So I'll have Italian one day, I'll go to it's an Italian restaurant, then I'll go to like a Lebanese restaurant and I'll do shish taouk and hummus. So every day I made myself like I was going to a restaurant in my dining. And then the balcony, I turned it into a tanning beach thingy. I got like a chair, even though I tan half myself, like
Yeah.
one side and one side. I don't get the whole sun, but it's better than nothing. So yeah.
That's a very good tip. Yeah, it's small things that are within our control that we can do,
Yeah.
because the whole idea is, we do have a choice, and I really want to just say that in bold, we do have a choice. And right now we're choosing just to indulge in our feelings and emotions and surrender to them. But we do have a choice, although it's hard work, but we do have a choice to say, you know what, stop. I want to start choosing the way I feel and the way I think. If I want to choose the way I feel, then I need to, filter my thoughts to be able to do that. And we're not used to this because this doesn't come naturally to us because we haven't done it. We have been trained to every day in the morning choose what clothes we want to wear, how we want to look, but we don't consciously put on what we want to think about and what our mood should be like. Okay, so exactly the way that we choose what we want to wear and we give it time to think about it, and we like this, we don't like this, and so on. Why don't we do the same thing with our thoughts? No, this doesn't suit me today. I don't want to feel sad today, so I'm not going to put it in my head today. Okay, let's keep it out. I choose to be happy today and zen today.
Yeah. It's like when they tell you to move, like, well, they say that during this pandemic, if you haven't changed as a person, then you've learned nothing. But also they also tell you, like, one thing I've noticed is that you have the choice to feel certain ways, like you said, but there's also things that make you feel that way. So do you want to invite them in your life, or do you want to, move away from them, whether they're, I don't know, people in your life, or friends, or situations, or scenarios, or whatever. There's certain things that before you never noticed that it made you feel a certain way, but now, because we're so centered and we're so focused in our houses, everything's magnified. We feel a lot more, we see a lot more, we hear a lot more. So it's like the people that used to like give us those negative kind of input, we never noticed them before. And now we are.
Absolutely.
So I've taken myself away from a lot of people that I never thought in a million years they were dragging me down, actually.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. This is another gift, by the way, that, because we have the gift of time and space, and perspective. So you're a little bit out of it, so we're able to see better. We see much better. And this is, the focus, and I really hope that, because, I really hope that we go out of this crisis remembering all of these lessons, that not when it's over, we just forget everything and we go back into it. But you know, my hope and um, my aspiration is that we go out of it much better people and better versions of ourselves. Because look, maybe this is the only time in our lives where we have the opportunity to just be completely selfish and completely working on ourselves and rewriting our story. Because a lot of the things that we have gone through, maybe, you know, I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve. Maybe things, some of the chapters in my life are not the same. So I went through some days early on where I started feeling, I indulged in the fear and the victim. What's going to happen to my business? What's going to happen to all of the people that I have to look after, da, 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 da. Okay. And then what started coming up is I started pulling all the scenarios that made me feel even worse, that I'm a victim. Oh, this person did wrong by me. You start pulling out things from your past just to reinforce what you're focusing on and to make you feel even worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So you have to consciously say, enough is enough. Okay, I've indulged. Thank you so much, fear. I have nothing else to learn from you. Okay, I'm going to take my precautions. But right now, I have the opportunity to change the course of my life forever. Even for people who have been out of their jobs, who have lost their jobs, and so on. Right now, you have an opportunity to think about what's your next step. And if you're just going to indulge in, oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God, the economy, da da da. You are not giving yourself a chance to stand on your own feet. Your only chance right now, you don't have the luxury of being negative and doing that. You don't. Right now, you have to start thinking, psyching yourself up and saying, okay, what do I love about, where's my passion, what do I want to do? And because what we do, you know, unless you are strong and you're feeling good within yourself, you will make the wrong decisions and you will end up making the wrong choices. Because the worst thing that you can do is decide your future based on fear. Imagine if you're deciding and writing your future based on all of the fears and the insecurities that we have, the future will look really grim.
Yeah.
We have to decide and plan for a future from a point of strength.
Yeah.
Rather
But
than,
you know, this opportunity too has given a lot of people some kind of superpower, because when you're in a position where you have nothing else to lose,
yeah,
whereas people have been like taking punches, whether at work, whether at home, whether at, you know, when you take all these punches, you become extremely transparent and vulnerable at some point, that everything that you used to be scared to do or say, you end up saying. You have the confidence to just, you know what, I have nothing to lose. To
yeah,
hell with it. I'm going to be this person, and I'm
exactly.
going to do this. And I'm going to, you know, like, I'm going to call my neighbor. I've had a crush on my neighbor. I'm going to call my neighbor. You know, I have nothing to lose. We're all in this together. So I think it brought a lot of people together. And while I do believe that, you know, this is the time to be selfish, I also believe that this is the time to finally look at each other
Yeah,
for change.
yeah,
Because we've lived our life, and I used to complain about that to my mom, that like, people don't look at each other anymore. I mean, I go in the elevator and I always look at the person in the elevator. Hi, good morning. I have to always start it. Why can't you just tell me good morning?
yeah,
Like, look at me, smile. You
yeah,
know, I like that. We're all humans. We're all in this world together. We're all dealing with this. And for the first time, I feel like, rich or poor or whatever race, whatever religion, we are all, subhanallah, for the first time, we are all equal.
yeah,
This very second, we are all equal. And that in on its own gives you a sense of belonging that you might not have had before.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The bond that is coming out and people standing in solidarity is out of this world because, um, and to your point, it's so important, if you want to feel better, one of the tools is contribute. If you are able to, take a step and contribute to other people, reach out, help, all of a sudden you feel, you feel much better. And by reaching out and helping other people, you're actually helping yourself because you are getting your power back by knowing that you're able to make a difference. And that's something that we all aspire to do. This is an actual need, an actual human need that we all need to feel and live a life of contribution. And this now is an ability, is a very good opportunity for us to actually live a life of contribution. And maybe if you're not, if you're at loss of where to start and so on, start with contribution, because that might lead you to things that point you in the right direction of what your next step is. If you're not able to pull into the resources internally that will get you to become stronger or feel stronger or more positive, okay, get out of your way to help somebody else. And that will give you the fuel to start doing that. So employ all of these tools, and there's a lot of resources out there. You will be amazed to see how many people are reaching out to helping others. And because like you said, we're all equal, we're all in it together. And
it's a beautiful distraction, to be honest. Not a sense of distraction, like it is actually a beautiful distraction for you to just reach out and help out, because it also creates this energy flow and it keeps you from thinking, so closely with your fear and anxiety. You sort of, that's why I say like having kids is a blessing as well, because you're so consumed by the kids and them growing up and doing all that stuff. Yes, you worry about them, but they sort of distract you from all the different anxiety and fears that you might feel as well. And then we also have such huge appreciation for people that we never used to appreciate before. I mean, the nurses, the doctors, the teachers, the workers. I'm looking at them like, wow, how did I not see you guys before? Like, where were you?
Yes, everybody.
Oh, like it's and then you look at what they're doing and you're like, they're in the front line, they're doing all this work, and then you feel stupid for being a little bit of scared and full of anxiety when you're just trying to stay home and stay safe, and they're like literally in front of this whole pandemic trying to save all of us. So that's why a lot of the times I get like a bit like my fear and anxiety has turned into anger at some point, and that's normal, right? To just go from fear to like anger, and then what comes next? Peace. Because I don't know.
And then you get over it. No, but I mean that's your possibly your anchor right there, right? Whenever you're starting to get your fear and anxiety back and so on, if you appreciate all the frontliners and everybody who's doing that, and that makes you put things into perspective. So that's your anchor right there. Once you start bubbling up, think about that and focus on it.
It kind of grounds you. It's like
exactly
your fear is nothing and compared to
exactly.
So we take questions. I feel like Haram, we've been like talking.
Absolutely, and we have a few questions on the chat, and I'm gonna unmute everybody so we can take some of the questions on chat, and then we have some of your followers as well who had questions. So please, guys, unmute yourself, and it's a discussion. It's
yes.
So one of the questions that we had on the chat is how do you view, especially in the current scenario of fear and anxiety, reading Quran and trying to understand purpose of life? So very, very good question, very good point. I think, you know, faith and spirituality here play a big role. And plugging into that is an opportune time now more than ever, right?
Yeah.
Because what we do, what we can do on a human level, taking our precautions and wearing our mask and doing everything and so on. And I think it's very important. And what we say in Arabic, نعمل بالأسباب. So we do everything that we can. And then we have to trust that we have done our best. That then we just give it, you know, trust. And this is where our trust and yaqeen and spirituality and belief is tested. Do we really have that, or we don't have that? And I think having the spirituality here plays, you know, a very important factor in making sure that we are connected to God, we are connected to our spirituality, to ourselves. It's very important. And being also connected to each other gives us strength. It's like a support system. And I'll tell you one thing. For me, I haven't had the opportunity like this past month to be in touch with so many people. Before, when it was normal, I wasn't in touch and communicating with as many people as I am doing now on daily basis, which is a privilege. And we are like a community. We have formed a community of support for each other, and it came sporadically, and it's beautiful. So connecting with ourselves and our thoughts and focus, connecting with each other as support groups, connecting with our spirituality and God, all of these will give us the strength that we need.
So I have a question. This is Shireen here. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys. This is absolutely, I think it's what we needed. I mean, just the sense of hope and the sense that, you know, I can now have some sort of control and that my fear is normal is really comforting. Is there any course or any program that you recommend where, you know, I can, I guess, have a higher dose from, you know, the kinds of conversations that we had tonight? Is there anything that you recommend, or anything that you guys are, I don't know, what can we do? Where can I get more of this?
That's a good question. Thanks, Shireen. Good to see you, although we don't see your video. But that's a super question. There's a lot of resources out there, lots of webinars happening and lots of things. But actually, there are, sorry, I'm just admitting people in as they're joining us. Actually, on International Women's Day, we had been working on a very special program that is dedicated for women. And it's all about mastering life. And on International Women's Day, before the lockdown happened, we actually launched it, and then the lockdown happened. And it's a beautiful program because it talks about how we master, how to become the CEO of your own life, how to direct your life the way you want, from being in control of yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, like self-mastery, mastering your relationships, mastering your work, and then living a life of impact and contribution. So it has different layers of mastering life and so on. So there is a program that exists, and we have launched it and so on. But the vision for it was to do it in groups and face-to-face. Now I think, you know, if we will do it online, probably, you know, let's see how we can transport it online, because it gives all the tools that, you know, some of them we are talking about today.
But there is in general a lot of apps that kind of give you comfort, and I'm not like, it doesn't have to be like as well like a discussion like this. I wish we can have discussions like that often, but it's also apps that help you sleep and relax. I forgot what they are. I have them on my phone actually, but they do really make a difference. What's it called? Relax and Sleep Well, for example. That's an app I really like. But they're not form of a talk thingy. They're just a form of like just to help you relax and calm down. But there are like different Instagram accounts that offer sort of talks and chats, and so I don't know, like I don't know them by heart. I wish I knew them. I would have helped out more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But you should go online then, Selma.
Yeah, we're gonna be going online if people feel that, you know, and I'm really feeling that there is a need for all of that. It's a wonderful program. It took us like 8 months to design it. It's like,
You do it.
yeah, packed with real practical tools that you can incorporate to do that. So we'll put it online. Khalas, I promise. This is I vouch to all of you. We'll put it online as soon as possible, and we'll announce it, and you guys can register for it.
Perfect.
Hi, ladies. Hi.
Hi.
So my name is Aida Barghouth,
Hi.
and so I have a question here. Thank you very much for this informative Zoom meeting, I would say. My question is, I have like family members, my younger sister, her name is Haya, and she's feeling lately a lot, and she's feeling homesick. She misses my mom a lot, and she's really anxious, scared. Okay, when am I gonna travel? She's in her early 20s, so she's still young. So we try to support her as much as we can, phone calls, Zoom, but
Yeah.
still she's feeling lonely, I would say, even though her neighbors are her friends. But what can I do to make her feel comfortable? I know it's really hard to say, okay, we're gonna travel soon. How is it gonna happen? I don't know. So is there any tip that I can give her? Thank you.
So she's feeling isolated or fearful, or
I think all of it. I think she's also, that's what I was talking about with families. I mean, my mom is here, and because I go to work on NBC, and even though we have been tested multiple times and we're in very secure environment, because I go to work every day, I feel like it's not fair for me to visit my mom yet, until the end of the season, which is end of the. I told my mom, I promised her, I was like, listen, mom, let me just finish work, which is the end of Ramadan. This is the end of the season. Let me get tested one more time, and then I'll come hug you. But before that, I'm very, careful to stay away. But even like knowing my mom is here and I can't see her, it gets me like very anxious. So her mom is in Beirut and she's here, and they have it. I mean, I'm sure, families get together a lot. So how do you deal with families that have been like snatched from each other and can't see each other for a while? And because we don't know how long this is going to take, it's very hard to tell a person, don't worry, by July you can travel, or by August you will see her. There's no
there's no end in sight, and we don't know where the end is going to be. But I think look, everything that we think, every thought that we have is connected to a feeling, right? And why is it connected to a feeling? Like, let's say that, you're not able to see your mother and give her a hug. And for you, it gives you a sense of isolation and sadness, not because of that act itself, because of the interpretation you have. For you, the meaning of not seeing your mother or not being able to hug her and see your mother might mean that you feel alone, you're not able to express your love to her, and so on. So the meaning that we give to things is what produces our feelings. So I think for your sister who's in Lebanon,
no, she's here. Her mom is in Lebanon.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
so her mom is in Lebanon, and your sister is here, and okay. So, I think it's very important to. What I usually do, and it's a nice tool and it's a nice trick. Well, it sounds a little bit weird. I really believe in writing letters. Okay, so if you are so writing letters, and if you are writing letters to yourself or to something that you're feeling, even if it's a fear, write a letter and just pour it out without editing, without doing anything, and have somebody, if you're close enough to your sister, let her hand the letter to you and you read it out to her, because a lot of the things that we think and we feel don't make a lot of sense, right? After we write them and so on, when we are feeling them, they make a lot of sense to us. But once you put it on a paper and then somebody reads it to you, or you read it to somebody the first time, and then you read it again, read it again, read it again, it somehow takes all the power out of all of that emotion and gets you back your power back, because by listening to yourself reading it, okay, you might think, oh my God, that's silly. I shouldn't be, I shouldn't be feeling that way, or I shouldn't be doing that way. It might sound strange, but try it. It's an effective way to just write it down unedited, and then get in front of a personal, of somebody you trust, a friend, a family member, and so on, and read your letter to them. And then once it's over, read it again, until it just doesn't have that impact on you anymore. So connect with her, get her to express herself in journaling, to know exactly what is bugging her and what's on her mind. Because a lot of times, even when we communicate, we don't know really what's happening inside our heads. When we journal, a lot of times things come out, and they're clearer. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Salma.
Ibtisam said on the chat, it's interesting. She said one course, there is a course called The Science of Well-Being. It's very interesting, and that she'll be studying during this quarantine.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
Yeah, hi, Salma.
Hi.
Thank you for that fantastic session. And Halanur, nice to meet you.
You too, thank you.
So one thing I'm doing, during the lockdown is that I've completely incorporated yoga and meditation in my daily routine. And there is a program done by Oprah Winfrey and Deepak Chopra, which is Hope in Times of Uncertainty, 21 days program. I really recommend anyone to do it, because it's a very strong mental support to go through all these very troubling times. And one thing I was facing because now we are so blessed that life resumed in Dubai, the day before going out for the first time, I was in a panic. I was in a total panic. And this is something, we are blessed because it was a very short period. Imagine for the other country how they can support, because you are living in your cocoon, you are disconnected yourself with the reality in a way. And a very, very important point is that I totally limit my input of information to real maximum 1 hour a day. And I filter my information at the maximum. I watch Dubai One because the government is really giving always, they start by a positive note, they end up by a positive note. And most importantly, they also reflect how many people survive, which is so important because, there is a lot of people that are affected, but a lot of survives, thanks God. And the problem is that most of the media control the people by the terror, and they only constantly repeat the same dramatic things that we don't need to know. We have to live at that level in denial, because we have to indulge denial at a reasonable doses in our life, to really keep our comfort zone productive and positive. Because if we listen to the news the whole day, that's it. You commit a suicide, because you know it's seriously, it's a drama. So yoga is something also that yoga, the more you practice it, the best you see the result, and it's a very strong mental support. And of course, meditation helps tremendously. And another thing I'll do the whole day, I put, well, as it's Ramadan, I start with the Surat al-Baqarah, you know, because it's supposed to have soothing effect. And then I always put some very high energy music, like the one that attracts the positive vibes and so on. And that helps me go through, hopefully, you know, these things. That's I've always lived in the present. So for me, it's not so difficult to, you know, when you live in the present, you accept the things much better. Because if you look at the future with what you are listening to, you can have a very, very pessimistic vision, and it's certainly not what we need at the moment. And I'm blessed to be on my own also, because I think I would kill all the family if I have to stay with them like that, you know.
So, you know, the introverts are having a better time than the extroverts, actually.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, staying home. So I'm an introvert. So staying home was easy for me. It's just dealing with all the other noise that was hard for me to deal with. But I like the yoga, and I will definitely do that, actually, the yoga and meditation.
I'm so much of an extroverted, and I was so much of a social butterfly.
And
so
it's hard for you.
Yeah, really. And the first week I was like a junkie who is missing his nose, you know, not to
I know that feeling.
This is not to hug the people, not to shake hands, you know. This is something that is missing. It's really something we miss, because this is the essence of humanity, you know, to have a direct contact with anyone. So that's what I wanted to share with that beautiful audience we have. Thank you, Salma.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Wonderful. You know, and I think we have Vivi on the chat saying, you know, exercising, moving our bodies, taking care of our health is important, which is very, very true. Look, you know, it's important that we remember always that most of the time we're living in our minds, right? So controlling our minds and making a conscious choice about, you know, what we focus on, like I said, is important. I mean, I'll never forget one of the turning points for me in my life was quite a few years ago in Dubai. I was driving down Sheikh Zayed Road, and you know, on the left lane, and all of a sudden I had all the symptoms of a heart attack. My heart started beating. I became hard of breathing. I started sweating. My arm, you know, started hurting. My chest, everything. And I don't know how I made it to park on the shoulder. And I, honest to God, I really felt and I thought that I was having a heart attack. And it was just an anxiety attack. And I'll never forget it, because I never knew that it was my very first anxiety attack ever. So, and that day was a turning point for me, because I was living so much in my head about being anxious about so many things, about the future, about my work, about my career, about so many things, my, you know, relationships, that, you know, I worked myself into a frenzy, so much so that I wasn't aware of it. So my body was screaming, saying, it's time to stop, you know, signaling me to just stop.
That's like, it just creeps up on you when you don't even.
So, and I wasn't consciously doing it to myself. I was just doing it without being conscious to it. And that was a turning point for me, because that's when I realized I have to get to study and research tools to get me to be in control of my thoughts and my focus, rather than the other way around, being in control of my feelings because this is my life, rather than the other way around. And really, it really works because, you know, if I am able to progress from an anxiety attack right on Sheikh Zayed Road where I thought I'm like gone, to somebody who's pretty much in control of what I feel. I have my ups and downs. I mean, I'm only human, and so on. But I'm just saying that a lot of times I'm able to catch myself feeling on a downward spiral and have some of my, you know, identified strategies to feel better again. One of the things that I do that helps me a lot is to put loud, you know, fun music on. It always changes my mood. You feel really good. So the sense of like hearing nice music is important for me. Sometimes the sense of cologne, like perfume and smells, that reminds me of a nice time or a nice thing or nice people, you know,
Memories,
memories, things like that, that to make you snap out of what you're feeling and change your state, because that's very important. Remember, it's focus, it's where your attention is and what your intention is that drive you in life.
By the way, I have to also mention that I've recently discovered the power of breathing.
Yes.
That I never thought breathing could completely transform not only your energy but your emotions and your, by different ways of breathing. I was blown away. Like I've watched several things on YouTube on how to breathe and when to breathe slow, when to breathe fast, when to, like, even like when I was having an anxiety attack and I call my mom because she's a healer and a life coach as well, but like she's very like she's very centered. She drives me crazy. I'm like, how do you get so centered? But anyways, I'd called her and I was full anxiety and I was like, Mom, I can't breathe. I need to go to the hospital. Like, I really, really can't breathe. And she was like, relax. She was very calm. She's like, relax, just breathe. I was like, I'm trying. I can't breathe. She's like, no, you can. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I can't. She's like, yes, you can. Mm-hmm. She's like, take a deep breath. Okay, and but don't take a deep breath fast. She's like, don't do it fast, do it very slow. You can let it in. And I realized when I breathe slow, there was air coming in, and I'm like, oh, I'm breathing. She's like, I know you are. And then she's like, just shake it off. And she told me, just, you know, your right leg, shake it. Just shake it off. And then I realized that, you know, it kind of works. But also I wanted to just point out a friend of mine. She was telling me that, you know, it's, you know, while she agrees with everything that we're talking about, there's also a problem where people are that are confined in their houses, that have problems in their houses. Yeah. So you have problems externally and internally. How do you run away from both? Yeah. If you can't even find a safe haven in your own home?
So it's creating, and that's a superb question, and that's why a lot of my single friends have always complained about being single and so on. And
it's like a blessing, right?
It's like, you know what, we're not testing our relationships and so on, we can hide away. No, but seriously, it's about creating boundaries and creating a time for yourself, even if you're in the same apartment, in the same home and so on. Because listen, this is not normal. I mean, even if you're living with the love of your life, but you're not used to being in each other's faces 24/7, right? Without
even with family, sometimes if you're living with your parents as well, that could cause extreme
and it's very true, because so you need to have a little bit of distance and create it by maybe by creating that you go to your room certain time, you do your own rituals, creating a routine for yourself that actually you have together time and you have alone time. Having alone time is so important, and it's not selfish, it's actually in the benefit of the relationship of everybody, because if you don't have alone time to digest and to reflect and to do your own thing, it'll be, you're going to be on each other's nerves, and you're going to be snapping at each other. So having alone time within the confinement of the same space is very important, and respecting each other's boundaries as well.
That's the thing. You'd have to have a mutual respect of each other's space. What if you don't have that?
You have to.
What if you're living with someone that doesn't understand the sense of space, or is like in your face, like my friend, for example? Like it's very hard for her to sort of explain to the other party, whether it's family or sister or whatever, for them to understand that she needs her space without being offended, or without being like sort of even more controlling.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a new learning experience. It's like, for a lot of people, it's like discovering the other person in your face all over again, because right now lots of attributes or lots of characteristics are coming out, good ones or bad ones, that you haven't seen before or are intense all of a sudden. Different people employ different things. I know somebody who escapes by sleeping. Okay, and this is not healthy, but that's her only escape. She just like sleeps it out, and different
24 hours a day.
Yeah. No, but different people are being creative of how to do it. So this
some people escape through food as well. Like
that's something. But the way that this person is avoiding confrontation, she was telling me the other day, and she's saying, I figured out the timings that he sleeps in, I wake up early, I do my thing, and so on. So by the time that he wakes up, I am, we have little things. I take a nap, and then, we get together for iftar, and then for the rest of the evening. So she's minimizing the interaction time because she's minimizing the conflict time. So this is avoidance because she doesn't want to deal with it. But that's
like tiptoeing around the person.
Exactly. And this is not solving the problem. It's just actually avoiding it. So different people are trying to solve it in different ways, but she knows that she has to at one point deal with it because she can't always manage the sleeping hours and all of that.
That's much work, honestly. I'd be just like,
it is. It is, and I think, but it is what you focus on, and you have to zoom in and zoom out of a lot of things. There are people who are, bothered by the smallest things, and it becomes bothersome when you're in each other's faces, like somebody chewing very loudly, and you're like really focusing on it.
Yeah.
So, zone out, zoom out. If you zoom in on all of the smallest details, that
everything get on your nerves.
Yeah, everything is gonna, like we're saying, it's what you focus on. You're choosing to focus on. I'm not saying it's easy, it's hard work, but this is the work on that is gonna change your journey and changing ourselves to a better version of ourselves.
Nice.
Why don't we do this in the situation that everybody is living in? Is like not focusing on the virus itself. Is just like, why don't we, for me, when it happened, alhamdulillah, I don't have that fear and not scared of, because I feel it's a sign. It's a sign from Allah for whatever was happening all around the world. And I see that we brought this to ourselves because of what injustice, what happened all around the world. And I think of what quarantine have to everybody teaches or find ourselves what we have inside is in good and bad, and how can we solve it, and how can we see other people in front of us, like if it's to remove the bad and to see everybody is good, and to help and to give others the reason why they reach that point in their life. So now it's open in Dubai. Why don't we go back and live and adapt? Because always we are calling people to adapt whatever problems they are having. And we can put the mask for a certain time to finish with the virus, because God created the world with viruses and bacteria, and this is natural. And we have to find the way to make our immunity more stronger, because if we stay in, our immunity will go down and viruses will be more stronger outside. We can.
But حبيبي I think honestly it's not about going out or going or staying in.
No, I think just to adapt, yani to go out, keep ourselves together, to go back to work, because people were gonna die more out of majaa, starvation. Yani, it's not like just this virus to be scared of.
There's a lot of other things happening in the world that are a lot more harmful than the virus. I agree, but the thing is, those are things that we know about and have seen throughout all our years. Whether it's hunger and people are reaching out to help, whether it's refugees and killing and rape and people that are abusing. The abuse went up by gazillions when people started being on lockdown. I understand, but the thing is, at this point we don't know what we're fighting yet. Until we know, or we have a sense of understanding as to what this virus is, I think at that point we can start to learn to adapt within reason. But until then, I think it's not fair for us to just go out yet carefree. I think we still have to maintain a sense of social distancing by a lot, and also staying home and respecting like the rules that are being set in place. So that means you cannot go out unless it's really, really important. You can go out at some point, but you need to practice social distancing religiously. You can't meet with different people or do multiple gatherings, because well, that's how it spreads, and we just don't know what it is yet, or how it's properly spread, or how it's properly taken care of. So I think
and now this is what I mean, to go out with rules. Even now, even there's rules, people are scared to go out. Even with rules, people, they don't have the courage to go out.
I don't blame them. I won't go out. I only go out when I need to, but I won't go out because I don't need to go out unless I'm going to the supermarket or whatever. But I feel like it's not about courage. It's about respecting where we are at the point. And to be honest, I don't mind staying at home, because I've been doing a lot of work at home and sort of reflecting on self-growth and all that stuff home than I've been doing going out. And going out, what am I going to do if I go out? I'm not it's not giving any, I'm not helping anyone by going out.
It depends on people. Like some people, they need to go out. They need to go to work, to work.
Certain works are open, but they're at the capacity of 30%. So you're not, even work has been cut in half, where not everyone has to go, and not everyone should go. And even when you're at work, you're at social distancing and all that stuff. And people have been disinfecting their whole offices, their shops, their whatever. But Dubai Mall is open, but nobody would dare go to the mall. People above 60 are not allowed to go to the mall, and younger kids below 12 are not allowed to go to the mall. Because we're not there yet. Yeah, we're trying to keep the economy afloat, but within reason. Like, we can't just say, oh, you know what, this is like any other virus or any other bacteria, and we need to adapt, and we need to just go out and like just
But there's other countries experience that, and they succeeded in it.
but we don't know that every country is doing what they feel they need to do for their country and their people accordingly. Every nationality thinks differently. Like the Swedish in general, for example, they're cold people. They're not huggable persons. Yani they don't shake hands, they don't hug each other. Swedish people are in general cold people. So they have been social distancing before social distancing. So they've already been doing that. So that's why I think there the lockdowns have been more at ease. But you see how hard Italians have been hit. Italians are warm. They're exactly like us Arab. They love kissing and hugging and oh my God, they're so lovable, and they love inviting people, and everyone come to my house and eat pasta and pizza, and so every country is dealing with it according to their people, because every country has different adat wa taqalid, you know what I mean? Like it's very different.
Yeah, it is very different. No, I agree. And I think, to be honest, I think we need to heed, like, I know that we're frustrated, and I know that, we all have different takes on this, but I think I would rather that we heed the advice of the medical people, because we're not doctors, and, we don't have all the picture. We have parts of the picture, and I guarantee you, and I promise you, we don't know the whole truth and the whole picture of it, and what we're dealing with really here in its entirety. And the only doctor that we have on the call with us is still on mute, but I think we need to abide by the rules and stay home. And until we flatten the curve, we haven't, the urge to go out and do things prematurely. We have a responsibility not only to ourselves, but to everybody around us. And I think flattening the curve, I mean, reading all the research and so on, flattening the curve is the only way that we can collectively induce the control of what's happening in this virus.
Yeah. We're not at the stage where we can say that we can adapt. We're not there yet. It's not there. Maybe within a couple of months we can say we can go out with our mask and learn to adapt to the new norm, but we're not even close to being there right now.
Let's take it let's take it one step at a time. I like every situation that happened, always there's a sporadic spread of muftis that actually come out and say, biftu everybody on their own thing. And I think because of the analysis that we have, but we need to be patient, we need to be, to persevere. And seriously, I think the best thing that we can do is, like, right now we have the option to, and we've been told you can open the business, you can start your business again, open the office and so on. I'm not opening our business. We decided not to go and to continue working remotely. And I think that's a responsibility and an obligation that I have to do my part. So to be safe and to make sure the team is safe and everybody around us is safe. So let's خلينا ما نتسرع, خلينا to be more conservative, like let's err on the side of conservative rather than the other way around.
I agree.
Yeah. Other viewpoints, questions. You had questions from your people.
I answered them actually. I was looking at all the questions. I'm like, okay, we answered this, we answered that, we answered this. Yeah, so we answered most of them.
Others, this is really amazing. I can't believe it's already 11:30. We've been
at the
1.5 hours on this chat, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So we're happy to stay on if people still have questions or viewpoints, but what do you think?
I don't know. mean, if nobody has any questions, I think we should, I don't want to overstay, and I don't want to take any more of any of your time. Honestly, it was a pleasure to sit here with all of you and talk about these points, because I think it's really important, and I think we're all collectively going through them, especially now, and it's something that a lot of people kind of don't highlight often. The fear and anxiety, they tend to kind of push it aside because they're focused on other more important things, and I think there's nothing more important than your mental health, because it starts with your mental health and it moves on to a lot of different things if it's not dealt with properly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much. This was awesome. This was really awesome. Thank you. It was a good chat.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. So we're having some things on the chat. Okay, thank you guys. It's been great. Thank you so much for initiating this. This has been awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Honestly, we've been trying to do this forever. It's been forever in the making. So I'm so happy we finally did it, and I hope we can continue to do this more often. I think we should do more than one session, but like sporadically, so we can check on everyone and how their spirits are doing, including mine. But
yeah. And if you guys want us to address anything in specific, just like message us or.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're happy to do that. Okay. Thank you so
you.
much. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.